Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadate Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Manojavam Marutatulya Begam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayutha Mukhyam Shri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmajah Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. We are entering chapter 5. This is a chapter that is beautiful in Sundara Kanda to a very different dimension and extreme. Valmiki, who's the king or the best among poets, the king among all kavis, has composed this chapter in such a way that not only are the words even more beautiful and sweeter than what's there, but just it rhymes. Every verse rhymes very, very well. Each word has multiple meanings, and it's placed in such a way that one might wonder, why is there such a description? So the background is Hanumanji. Remember, he said, I will enter Lanka when it is dark so that no one can recognize me. I'm on a reconnaissance mission. He transformed himself into a small cat-size figure, and he has entered the outer ramparts of Lanka. And he is searching for Sita Devi and moving towards Ravana's palace. And he's getting there. And along the way, he sees different residents of Lanka, the beauty of Lanka, the structure, the layout, who's there, who all are there, what kind of works are they doing, etc., etc. And he's recording all that information for himself. And as he had entered Lanka when nightfall had just begun, so the moon had just arisen on the horizon. This chapter tells us how the night had progressed. And we'll get to see what Hanuman sees because of the moon. So we'll start chapter 5. What I've done is I have sent all of us in our chat box here and on our WhatsApp group that entire chapter. The verses are highlighted in blue. Who's sharing the screen?
It's me, Prabhu. You want me to
I
start?
don't want. Yeah. Please don't share the screen. The document is there for you to see and follow along if you like. But here is the verse. Chapter 5, first verse, and you'll see that this is a Anushtup meter. where there are 32 syllables organized in 4 padas or 4 lines. And at the end of each line is the same word or the same ending. And it's all 27 verses are like that. We will cover only 4 verses today, if possible. So the chapter begins with Tatasya madhyam gatam amshumantam Jyotsna avitana mahad udvavantam Dadarsha dhiman bhuvibhanumantam Goshte vrisham mattam iva brahmantam. The intelligent Hanuman, Dhiman, observed that the moon is in the central part of the sky. Madhyam gatam amshumantam. Amshumantam is the moon. Madhyam gatam. He came to the right in the middle of the sky, which means it's midnight. Hanuman had entered when dusk had just begun, and now it is midnight. So how is the moon looking? Jyotsna avitana mahad udvavantam. Mahad udvamantam means spreading all over, like a canopy. Like you're walking down through a tunnel where the canopy is nothing but moonlight. And Jyotsna avitana, completely spreading his effulgence like a canopy throughout the sky. I hope at this time we can visualize how the moon looks, although he's not the full moon yet. Later we'll see he's not the full moon. He's a crescent moon, but is so bright that he is shining light all over the sky and the earth. Dadarsha, Hanuman saw Divi Bhanumantam. He says Bhanumantam is like the sky, like the sun, sorry. Bhanu is the sun. Although he's existing in Divi, in the heavenly or the sky region, he's illuminating the entire earth. And he's white. Goshte vrisham mattam iva brahmantam. A bull that is ready for mating has no one to stop him. So he's roaming around in the cowshed or cow barn. And he's white, big, mighty, strong. And he's looking. So the moon looks as if he's moving in the sky like a strong bull that has absolutely no opposition. So we know that the sun, Surya, is one whose light the moon reflects. So this entire chapter, although it's a description of the moon, it is a way in which Valmiki Rishi is telling us Guru Tattva, where the moon and moonshine and Hanuman together represent that Guru Tattva. He is the Guru, and the moon and the moonlight represents the Guru Tattva or the disciplic succession, through whom the Guru Tattva is passed on from one generation to another. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, we hear Krishna Surya Sama Mayahaya Andhakara. So the Supreme Lord is compared to the sun because he is the source of all light and source of all enlightenment. Even the stars emanate from him. Yachakshuresa savita sakala grahana raja samasta suramurti rashesha tejaha. Yasyagnaya brahmati sambhrita kala chakro govindam adipurusham tam aham bhajami. That Savita, the sun, is the Raja, is the king of all the planets. The moon then reflects that sunlight for all the living entities during nighttime. So the sun shine is very intense, it's strong. Nobody can look at the sun directly without damaging or becoming blind. And at the midday time, the sun is so hot, it is very scorching. But everybody can look at the moon, full moon, without any problem, although it is bright. And the sunshine is scorching, the moonshine is soothing. People run for shelter during the midday sun, but people run out to be under the moonshine at night. So Guru is the one who takes that enlightenment from the Supreme Lord and distributes it to the common living entities in a very soothing, gentle, calming, pleasing way. We are familiar with such a example. Every morning we say, Samsara Davana Lidhaloka Tranaya Karunya Ghana Ghanatvam Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Vande Guroshri Charanaravindam. The water that is required for quenching or extinguishing a forest fire may be right next to the forest fire. California is full of forest fires. The Pacific Ocean is right next to the shoreline. Yet, the only way that the forest fire can be extinguished is through rain. And rain is brought by clouds, ghana ghanatvam. Those clouds don't get water of their own. The sun evaporates the ocean in the form of vapor, and that vapor then condenses on a cloud, and then it drops to the ground as rain. So the Supreme Lord is the source, Kalyana Guna Arnava, the ocean of auspicious qualities. But those auspicious qualities can be accessed, his mercy can be felt, experienced palpably, ghana ghanatvam, from the clouds. The clouds represent the spiritual masters or Guru Tattva. And singularly, the spiritual master brings auspiciousness and an extinguishing of the forest fire of existence. So the moon is similar like that. Therefore, you see the connection as Guru Tattva. The verse begins with Tataha, then. And whenever we hear Tataha, the question we should always ask is when? Because the Tataha has meaning. When Sri Hanuman, as a representative of Sri Ramachandra, is searching for Sita Devi. The moon of disciplic succession supports him and helps him in his mission. When the spiritual master, we're all followers of Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada wanted to come to the West looking for lost souls, all the Sitas that we are, the disciplic succession in form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, particularly Sri Rupa Goswami, appeared to him and said, we will help you. We will make sure that your mission is successful. So the great moon-like devotees, we hear the phrase uttered by Prabhupada multiple times. Eko Chandra Tamohanti, one moon can dissipate the darkness of the sky, of the night. Natatra Tara Sahasrasha, even thousands of stars, although they are twinkling, they don't have the capacity to give light to such a degree that the earth can be enlightened or illuminated. So then, when Hanuman is searching for Sita Devi, the moon is now helping. Instead of being at the horizon, the moon has arrived right on top, overhead. So it's almost like a flashlight. And he's filling the entire firmament, the sky, with his rays. According to the Vedas, Shabda Brahman is compared to a bull. Especially if you hear the description of Nandi, who is Shabda Brahma, he is not described that he has 4 legs. He actually has 4 horns, 3 legs, etc., etc. That is the personification of Shabda Brahman. So that's the first verse. The moon has arrived overhead to help Hanumanji. So what is the moon doing? Lokasya papani vinashayantam mahodadhim chapi samedhayantam bhutani sarvani virajayantam dadarsa shitamshum atha abhiyantam. Shita amshum, cold water. So while Hanuman is moving forward, Hanuman saw every verse somewhere or the other is dadarsha. Hanuman saw. Hanuman observed that the moon was doing these things. He was spreading his light, thereby removing all the agony of all creatures, papani bhutani, causing the swelling of the ocean and illuminating the earth as well as the sky. So here, the moon is said to have lokasya papani vinashayantam. Papa means sinful reactions. Now, technically, the moon gives pleasure. So when a person feels pleasure, their distress has been removed. But Valmiki doesn't say vinashe dukkhani. He's saying vinasha papani. Because dukkha is only an effect of a cause called papa. And the spiritual master, his appearance is not ordinary, that it is some sort of remedy, band-aid remedy for some difficulty. In the material world, all of us conditioned souls, when we are plagued by distress, then we look for distractions that will numb us from the experience of that distress. So we call it time wasting or distractions or entertainment. Entertainment doesn't remove papa. It only distracts us from the pain at that moment. For example, if it is said that if you are, let's say, hitting a nail on the wall and you hit the hammer on your finger, let's say left index finger, obviously it hurts. But if you press the right index finger, it seems that the pain in the left is reduced, because the brain is being told actually the pain is in the right index finger when actually it is in the left. Try it out. First, crush your finger with the hammer if you want to try it out. That's a distraction. It only takes the mind away from the dukkha, but the papa is not gone away. But the arrival of the spiritual master in one's life, or the connection with the disciplic succession, removes papa, not just dukkha. It removes the source of all dukkha. Because the spiritual master injects the person's heart with bhakti. And that, as it unfurls, according to Rupa Goswami, Kleshagni and Shubhada are the first 2 leaves that manifest on the bhakti creeper. Kleshagni, removal of all distresses. So there is pleasure that is created from piety. When distress created from impiety. But when a person doesn't do pious works or impious works, they become liberated. Krishna describes in chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, Shubha Ashubha Phalairevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanaihi. Shubha and Ashubha come because of karma bandhana, because of doing activity in this world, wanting a better condition. But bhakti is not about a better condition. Bhakti is about unraveling our true nature. So Krishna says, Shubha Ashubha Phalarevam Mokshase. Another is that the spiritual master's presence, his or her instruction, an example, eliminate sinful activities of conditioned souls. Hence the word papani and not dukkhani. Mrigari the hunter, who met Narada Muni, just by Narada Muni's presence and instructions, he transformed into such a person that rather than half killing animals, he was not willing to even accidentally step on ants. So he was very careful. So not only the distress, dukkha, but the papa was being removed. Then he caused the ocean to swell. Now, physiologically, we know, or astronomically, that the moon's phases and the moon's rising and setting affect the ocean's tides. So when the moon is rising to the middle of the sky, the ocean has swollen to the highest tide possible. But while the poetry is beautiful, it is completely enthralling. We are interested in the nectar that is there because we all want to be like honeybees. A bee looks at a beautiful flower that is manifest or blooming with beautiful colors, exquisite petals. His interest is in the nectar that's in the whirl of the flower. That's all that the bee wants. And since we are also devotees or aspiring transcendentalists and spiritualists, we appreciate the flower, we appreciate the color, we appreciate the fragrance, but we really want the nectar. The Supreme Lord is the ocean of all these qualities that we talked about, Kalyana, Guna, Arnavam. So the spiritual master, by constantly reciting the wonderful names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord, he expands the ocean of smaranam in us. So in one sense, we are residents of the ocean of material existence. That is a salt ocean. Now, salt does not satisfy thirst. How much ever salt water one might drink, it never quenches thirst. Actually, it makes it worse. So we are to go from the salt ocean into the nectar ocean, or the ocean of milk. And in that ocean, the moon of the spiritual master will increase the tides of smaranam in us. That is the meaning of samadheyantam. Samedhayantam, sorry. Another meaning is that he makes our, I'm saying he or she makes our life, our conditioned life, actually better by instilling good samskaras. So one may say, oh, only spiritual, there's no other benefit. Yeah, good samskaras make us behave and live according to Rupa Goswami's instruction of tat karma pravartanat sangatyagaha satovritehe shadbir bhaktir prasiddhyati. Prasiddhyati, it becomes more and more perfected. Here he says, Samedhayantam, the ocean is expanding. So, for example, we are taught how to follow the regulative principles, to live according to mercy, cleanliness, austerity, and truthfulness. Now, these are not spiritual necessarily, but they are the pillars on which our spiritual life stands. Being merciful. Generally, we say no meat eating. True. But no meat eating is a narrow way of looking at, or a sutra way of speaking it. But in our heart, we are actually saying, I commit to live mercifully. I want to be the ambassador of, or the person carrying mercy in me. It's not coming from me. I'm not the source, but I'm carrying it on behalf of, I'm receiving it. I've been dealt with mercifully, and I carry that mercy unto others. Austerity, cleanliness, and truthfulness. I want to live truthfully. I want to live austere. Now, austere, most people would consider as painful. Yeah, it's called tapasya, voluntary. The pain is not in the activities. The pain actually is experienced by saying no to certain activities and words and thoughts. That's the pain, because we are attached. When you rip off something, we all have that experience of a bandage on our skin, and when it is ripped off, it pains, because the ripping effect has pain. To live according to charity, to be charitable, both in our words, in our actions, etc. To live selflessly, meaning trying to benefit other people. Somehow or the other beings, other people, we benefit. It doesn't have to be in big, massive ways only. Generally, the conditioned mind tells us, oh, I can't do big charitable projects, so better not do. Actually, that's not what it is. Small actions daily of being charitable adds up to a massive amount of charity. And charity does not mean only money, but it is the idea of being selfless and consciously benefiting someone else. By that, the ocean in our heart of feeling kalyana guna expands. So the spiritual master makes that samskara, that through smarana, that ocean is increasing. Kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadhu jivanam ananda ambudhi vardhanam. That is the phrase here. Ananda ambudhi vardhanam. The ocean of happiness or bliss is constantly expanding. And here the moon is samedhayantam, expanding or swelling the ocean. The parallel is very, very straightforward. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Kairava Chandrika. The beautiful moon is casting this moonlight. And Anandambudhi Vardhanam. Because of that moon, the ocean of bliss is expanding. And finally, he is bathing and illuminating every living entity, because the spiritual master is an embodiment of enlightenment. Every little circumstance, every little situation, he or she can see in terms of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. All right. Verse number 3. Ya bhati lakshmir bhuvi mandarastha tatha pradosheshu cha sagarastha tathaiva toyeshu cha pushkarastha rarajacharu nishakarastha. Lovely, lovely verses. The direct translation, the same splendor on the Mantara mountain, which glows at dusk, lay on the ocean, on lotuses in the lakes, and on the beautiful moon also. The translation is not so accurate, But let's look at phrase by phrase. Ya bhati Lakshmir bhuvi mandarastha. Ya means she who. Lakshmi means resplendence or the opulence or the shining. Bhati, that illuminates. Mandarastha, Bhuvi Mandarastha, that Mandara mountain that is on the earth planet is shining because of Lakshmi, meaning the resplendence. Here, Lakshmi particularly means resplendence, the shining. That same resplendence, tatha pradosheshu cha sagarastha, after the sun has set, the first 48 minutes is called pradosha. During pradosha time, the ocean becomes of a particular effulgence. So that same Lakshmi or the resplendence is on the ocean at pradosha time. Tathaiva toyeshu cha pushkarastha. Pushkara means a lotus, and this is the lotus that blooms at night that is having the same effulgence or resplendence. That one is now seen in the moon. Rarajasa charu nishakarastha. Raraja, making the moon shine. Charu, in a very beautiful way. The Mandara hill, so that's just sort of the direct meaning. Let's look at the hidden meanings here. If you see where Mandara mountain, ocean, lotus, and moon, and Lakshmi all come together, it's in the churning of the milk ocean pastime. The Mandara mountain was brought to the milk ocean, and it was churned. The ocean was churned, and from the churning, the moon manifested first, among other entities and things, and then a lotus on which Lakshmi Devi manifested. Therefore, she is called Padmaja. So, Valmiki, by looking at the moon, or Hanumanji looking at the moon, is reminded of the wonderful churning of the milk ocean, and particularly the moon who's helping find the manifestation of that Lakshmi Devi. So Valmiki is indirectly hinting the appearance of Lakshmi Devi in that pastime. Another meaning is that the Lord Sri Ramachandra, like we discussed, his qualities are the ocean of milk. We take the mountain of Mandara called our own Sankalpa, and with that intention, we churn the heart. That is where the milk ocean is actually. Because when we recite the pastime of the churning of the milk ocean, we say all these gifts came out, and then came the poison. And after the poison came nectar. So anartha nivriti. Similarly, we have to have a sankalpa. Sankalpa is determination, and determination has to be, according to this verse, strong like the mountain, Mandarachala. And with that sankalpa, we churn the heart, which is that milk ocean, so that the qualities of Sri Ramachandra manifest in our heart. And how does that manifest? By the lotus called Daya or Kripa. And then that Lakshmi Sampanna, one who is endowed with the qualities of Lakshmi Devi. Who is Lakshmi Devi? Radharani, Sita Devi. They're the Hladini potency of the Lord that bring the entity towards the Lord and brings the Lord towards the entity. so that there is a feeling of rasa. Rasa means the exchange of, or the experience of joy in exchange with the Supreme Lord. Bhakti rasa amrita sindhu. Again, the reference to ocean. So unless Ladini potency is there, unless the consort of the Lord is there, one will not feel the sense of connection. And the spiritual master is the one, on behalf of that Ladini potency, makes us attracted to the Supreme Lord, gives us, infuses us, empowers us to feel the joy of rasa in our bhakti, and removes any obstacles from by his instructions and behaviors. So that is the reason the ocean example is being given. Then the question would be, okay, we heard the moon, but how exactly is the moon shining? What is the quality of the moonshine? Hamso yatha rajata panjarasthada. Simho yata mandara kandarastha. Viro yatha garvita kunjarastha. Chandropi babhraja tathambarastha. The last line says, Chandra api bhabraja. Bhabraja, shining. Tatha, therefore, or there, ambarasthata. Ambarastha, situated in the sky. The sky is also called ambara. So three examples are given, or three similes, or in Sanskrit it's called slesha. Similes. Hamsa yatha rajata panjarastha, like a white swan in a silver cage. Simha yatha mandara kandarastha, like a lion inside the cave of Mandara mountain. Veera yatha garvita kunjarastha, like a hero sitting on a maddened elephant. Chandro api, like that the moon is. So the question is, what is the comparison here? The moon is clean hamsa inside a silver cage. The canopy of light that the moon is emanating is like a cage inside which this beautiful shining white moon is. Valmiki is comparing the moon to a swan, a lion, and a hero. So the moon, first of all, hamsas cannot be easily captured. But yet, when they do, they look beautiful inside a cage. But the idea is that no one can capture a hamsa like that. So generally, a moon seems to follow a certain rule. It rises at a given time, it sets at a given time, and is always on that mission. Now, every living entity is under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Lord. All living beings, plants, animals, everyone. He is the one. Mamaiva, not Mamaiva. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharan. Hetunanena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. Hetuna. By me, under my supervision, the entire material energy is manifesting and unmanifesting. But a conditioned living entity thinks, Ishwaroham, aham bhogi, bhalavan, siddhoham balavan sukhi. However, that is nothing but the illusion of independence that doesn't exist. Because everyone is under the control of material energy. It looks like we have independence. Now, constitutionally, do we have free will? Yes, absolutely. Conditionally, do we have free will? Depends. It cannot be manifest, depending on the way karmic reactions capture us. So everyone is controlled by the modes of nature. Yet a swan, although inside a cage, never considers himself a prisoner. In fact, by being in the cage, he gives happiness to everyone who's looking at him. He eats whatever people offer. So actually does not see the cage as if it's forced upon him. Similarly, the great personalities, the spiritual masters, the great sages, the members of the disciplic succession who enter this world seem like they are in a cage. Prabhupada gives the example. The prisoner is also in jail. The jail warden is also in the jail. Sometimes the king also comes into the jail. But the prisoner cannot think, I'm also in jail, you're also in jail. The difference is the king has come by his own will, or the queen has come by her own will. The prisoner has been forced to be in this prison cell. So, although they are in the same place, they're not by the same reason. So, Hamsa Yatha Rajata Panjarastha. The Hamsa is the spiritual master, the Paramahamsa, who's inside this material world. It's a cage. It seems shining, but he's there for benefiting others. Now, a lion may not be out on the prowl, but if he's in the cave, he doesn't lose his lionness, his being a lion. Apparently, it is said that if a lion is inside a cave, almost 8 or 16 miles away, animals can smell the presence of a lion. That is his prowess. So the heart is the cave. It's called Hrada. Mandara Kandarastha. Inside that is the lion. The lion of the teachings of the spiritual master that are always there to remove fear and to remove all other influences. And a mad elephant. Actually, we know the mad elephant offense, Hati Mata. A mad elephant uproots a very, very well manicured garden. But only a hero sits on this strong elephant, and by a little tiny goad, in Sanskrit it's called Ankusha, by that goad, he pokes right behind the ears of the elephant, and that elephant is completely domesticated. How much ever maddened he might be, that is the nature of a hero. So this material existence is like living like a maddened elephant. And the guru is holding Ankusha, the goad, and that goad is his knowledge or instructions of Shastra. By that, he or she domesticates and makes the disciple a very samskari. And so rather than being a mad elephant, one becomes a domesticated being. Because samskaras are meant to domesticate from being ignorant like an animal to being knowledgeable and situated on the path of dharma. And for that, someone needs to give instructions that goad us in the way that makes the elephant become calmer and domesticated. I don't have time to go through more verses. Let's see if there are any questions or comments. For me also, the elephant in the cave is still not clear. I can come back to you another time. But the roaring of the elephant is the carrying of those instructions in one's heart. And from there, the spiritual master guides or gives knowledge. As Krishna says, I am giving everyone the required knowledge by which they come to me. So that roaring is the Shabda Brahman. All right, any comments, thoughts, questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the wonderful class and all the analogies. If you don't mind, can you please revisit the lion inside the cave example and the analogy?
I just ended with that the lion in the cave is still forming for me. But think of it that the lion in the cave is the roaring of or the presence of instructions in one's heart, by which a person becomes fearless, abhaya. And the other things that are there to distract are cast away by the roaring of that lion. So there is a verse about Valmiki. Valmikir Munisimhasya Kavita Vanacharini. Right? The Valmiki is the lion in the forest of poetry. Kavita Vanacharini. He's traversing in the forest of poetry. Like that. Shrunvan Ram Katha Nadam. By hearing the roar of this lion called Valmiki, and that roar is Rama Katha. Kona yanti param gatim. Who is there such a person who will not achieve the ultimate position, the liberated position, meaning being situated at the lotus feet of Sri Rama and Sri Sita Devi? Who is there? Nobody, because the lion is there. No one can escape the lion. So, Simho Yatha Mandara Kandarastha.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It's so beautiful. Thank you.
Well, it's beautiful because thanks to Acharyas. I'm just a repeater, like a parrot. But the Acharyas have written such wonderful, wonderful ways in which their realizations today we are relishing. Anything else? So I've sent you all the 27 verses. Read them, and I'm sure I'm sure each one of us will also have a joyful experience on the waves. Anything? You like the poetry? You like the rhyming? Okay, looks like we have a quiet crowd today. Thank you. If nothing else, we'll meet again next week. We'll continue this chapter. I'm not going to go through every verse because if I do 27 verses, it'll take us at least a month and we'll not even get done with this chapter. I want to keep everyone's attention and enthusiasm as we go. He's now going to next see the Pushpaka Vimana. I'm going to gloss over it because every verse has so much detail. So I'm going to do a few more verses from this chapter next week, and then we'll enter, following Hanumanji, we'll enter the Pushpaka Vimana, and who knows, we might be able to see Ravana there.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, in one of the section, it came about the reconnection with the spiritual masters removes Papa, the sinful tendencies and from the root. So what to be done and how one can strengthen one's connection with the spiritual master and what steps to take?
Well, Srimad Bhagavatam tells us, lovely question. Srimad Bhagavatam tells us, Shushrushaya Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syat Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. Two things primarily. Shushrushaya, menial service or serving the sadhus, Vaishnavas, spiritual masters. Syat Mahat Sevaya, that's a great service that is offered. And Vasudeva Katharuchi. Unless the illumination in the heart of the Supreme Lord is not there, there's no taste for Katha. We want Sri Ramachandra and Sita Devi and all their associates to manifest in our heart. And they manifest when the heart is ready. And the heart is prepared by the spiritual master. By injecting within our ears the pure name, the idea of the form, and the qualities and activities of the Lord. So before the Lord appears, all of these are appearing in sound form. And then the Lord and his consorts and his associates appear. And connection depends upon how receptive a person is to that messages. The more the receptivity, the greater the connection. Think of it as a Wi-Fi signal or a cell phone signal. The further one is remote from the cell phone tower, the weaker the signal. The closer, the stronger. So these are principles. On a day-to-day basis, performing one's sadhana bhakti activities, that's not just the chanting of the rounds and deity worship. Not just that. Sadhana includes how we practice speaking to people, thinking about people, meeting people, working out there in whatever we are doing, our daily activities of work, not work, just office work, but daily activities of any work that we are doing is all sadhana. It's a practice for feeling connected with, not just feeling, but actually connecting with the Supreme Lord. Rishikesha, Rishikena Sevanam. Bhaktir Uchyate. That is bhakti. When we use our senses in the service of the master of the senses. So are we aware of, are we conscious of it? What are things we can do to become more aware and conscious? It's called bhavana. Therefore, Prabhupada called it Krishna consciousness. Krishna bhavanamrita. So we say bhavayami. There's a song, Bhavayami Raghuramam. There is verses that says Bhavayami. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, Krishna says, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Puta Mad Bhavamagata. I missed a line in between. Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Puta Mad Bhavamagata. Mad Bhavam is that they become conscious of me. Puta, by becoming purified. Bahavo, lot of jnanis and tapasvis. But having gotten rid of raga, bhaya, and krodha. Actually, a conditioned soul's, if you break down the day-to-day activities and categorize them, they fall in three categories. Activities of raga, activities of bhaya, and activities of krodha. Raga is all activities that are done from a sense of affection for matter. I am this body, these things are mine, etc. Bhaya is all of the activities and thoughts and speech from the fear of that being taken away or being lost. Those things of losing them. And then the effect of becoming angry and frustrated when one's expectations are not met. There's a beautiful saying that expectations are the seeds that fructify as the forest of resentment. As soon as there's expectation, resentment has to be there. It will manifest. So expectations are the seeds one sows to grow a forest of resentment. Vita raga bhaya krodha. Man maya upashaya. So without those, connections are hard. So we try above and that, we make an attempt to connect. Akiladhara Prabhu, I hope that satisfies you.
Ji, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Rajeshwari Pran here.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So beautiful class, Prabhu. I was just reminded of something from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it says both Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda appear like sun and moon at
Yes.
Kanda-Ch5-Verses to dissipate this darkness of this world. So it's just that Guru and Guru Tattva, the moonshine, what you are taking up. I just reminded of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy there.
Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahoditau Gaudodaye Pushpavantau Chitro Tamnau
Tamonudam.
Tamonudau. Thank you. The
That's all.
sun and the moon have to rise together, the Lord and the Guru, because the moon is reflecting the light. Thank you. Beautiful verse.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, the other song is also there. Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Sushitala. The moon as the Guru is constantly similar. Theme is riding through. All right, should we end? Okay, until we meet next week, let the moon of or the moon-like spiritual masters shine light in our dark heart. And let the Hamsa give us good instruction. The lion-like spiritual master remove all fears. And let the mad elephant of unregulated senses be tamed by the Ankusha-like instructions of our spiritual masters, so that the heart is a calm, soothing, illuminated place in which we can offer a golden throne to Sri Sita and Ramachandra. Sri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman